The night air was thick and heavy with the smell of death. It seemed to linger in the darkness, like a warning of what was to come. The homeless man stumbled through the streets, his clothes tattered and worn. He had been wandering for days, searching for shelter, but nothing seemed to be available. He was tired and desperate, ready to take whatever he could find, even if it meant sleeping on the street. Suddenly, he heard a noise coming from a nearby alley. He cautiously peered around the corner, expecting to find a rat or some other animal, but instead he saw an old woman. She was dressed in a long, black cloak, and her eyes seemed to glow with an eerie light. The man froze in fear, unable to move. The woman slowly walked towards him, her eyes never leaving his face. He wanted to run, but his feet were rooted to the ground. He felt a chill run down his spine as the woman reached out and touched his arm. "Come," she said in a deep, raspy voice. "I can offer you shelter for the night." The man hesitated, but his need for shelter outweighed his fear. He silently followed the woman down the alley, not knowing what awaited him. The woman led him to an old, dilapidated house. She opened the door and motioned for him to enter. He stepped inside and looked around. The inside of the house was dark and dusty, covered in cobwebs. He could feel a strange energy in the air, like something was watching him. The woman lit a candle and beckoned him to follow her. She motioned for him to sit down at a large wooden table. She then began to chant in a strange language. The man watched in terror as the woman began to mix ingredients in a small cauldron. He wanted to run, but his body was paralyzed with fear. He could only sit and watch as the woman started to perform some kind of ritual. Suddenly, the woman stopped chanting and looked up at the man. Her eyes were glowing an even brighter shade of green, and the man could feel a sinister power emanating from her. "I have been collecting souls for many years," she said in a cold, deadpan voice. "And now I will have yours." The man felt a chill run down his spine as the woman's words echoed in his mind. He knew he had to get out of there, but his body wouldn't move. He watched in horror as the woman took a knife and started to cut into his arm. The pain was unbearable, and the man screamed in agony. He could feel his life force being drained from him, and he knew he was going to die. Suddenly, he felt a presence in the room. He looked up to see a figure standing in the corner, shrouded in darkness. The figure stepped forward, and the man could see that it was a man dressed in a long, black cloak. The man seemed to be made of pure darkness, and the only thing that was visible was his glowing green eyes. "Leave this place now," the figure said in a deep voice. "Before it is too late." The man didn't need to be told twice. He quickly got up and ran out of the house, not looking back. He ran until he was sure he was safe. When he finally stopped running, he looked back and saw the old woman standing in the doorway of the house. She was looking right at him, and he could feel her eyes boring into him. He quickly turned away and started walking, feeling a chill run down his spine. The man never returned to that part of town again. He told his story to anyone who would listen, and soon the tale of the witch who collects homeless people's souls began to spread throughout the city. People were warned to stay away from that part of town, and the old woman was never seen again. But even to this day, the man can still feel her presence whenever he passes by that alley. He can still feel the chill of death in the air, and he knows that one day she will come for him. What is your worst nightmare or scariest horror story that you would like to hear? Comment down below, and I will make your dream come true. See you on the next episode. It might be your story. Thanks for watching.